everybody, and welcome to the garage. Although it feels more like a studio today because Channel 7 yesterday, I don't know whether you saw it, but Channel 7 came down and Elsbeth Hussey came and recorded a segment for the 6 o'clock news on Channel 7 last night. You may have seen it. It was about the event that they're having at the Public Schools Club in Adelaide. They're all monarchists, and I'm a monarchist, and they'd invited me some time ago to come down and on the eve of the coronation of King Charles III, they're having a sort of a gala dinner. Well, not so much a gala dinner, it's more cosy than that, but a nice dinner on the eve of the coronation to celebrate the coronation. Anyway, Channel 7 picked up on that, and they came and decided to do a segment with me. And at the time of recording, I haven't seen it yet. But anyway, that doesn't matter. But we've got enough British stuff around here. Even the cars alone are British. And when you think about it, all of the things accomplished by Great Britain are considerable. No longer the Empire, but there is the Commonwealth. Anyway, we'll have some more to say about that. May the 4th, Star Wars Day, as I mentioned yesterday. May the 4th be with you. Why not? Oh, speaking of the best of British, May the 4th, 1904, Charles Rolls meets Henry Royce. They were at the Midland Hotel in Manchester, in England. And they go on to form the car manufacturing company between the two of them, Rolls-Royce, which, it says here, at 60 miles per hour, the loudest noise in the Rolls is the electric clock. Now, that was true, but the little thing that the advertising agency pulled here was that it just happened to be a very loud clock. They didn't tell a lie, you understand. That was 1904. 1942, the Battle of the Coral Sea, the first naval battle fought solely in the air between, obviously, the Japanese, the Americans, and the Australians, and the navies were involved, but that was the turning point of the Second World War in the Pacific. I'm convinced of that. I think coming up we have VE Day, don't we? Victory in Europe. Anyway, we'll get to that. Margaret Thatcher becomes the first woman to be elected Prime Minister of the United Kingdom in 1979. Sherlock Holmes, the lady is not for turning. I remember she said that a lot. The lady is not for turning. She was a tough nut, Margaret Thatcher. And so was Sherlock Holmes. 1891, on this day, he dies. Did you ever see that show? Pete, did you see that one where he went over the waterfall?
No, I didn't.
But Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had to bring him back because the people said, no, you can't kill him. You can't kill Sherlock Holmes, for God's sake. The Cunard Steamship Company is formed in 1839. The first Grammy Awards ever on this day in 1959, and Perry Como was the winner, along with Ella Fitzgerald. I don't know about Ella Fitzgerald, but Perry Como, his early songs were wonderful. He had a great hit called Round and Round. Round and Round was lovely. I grew up as a kid. I should have known I was heading in the direction, somewhat vaguely, in the direction of music when I fell in love with songs like that. As, you know, I would have only been sort of 8 years old. Audrey Hepburn, British actress, Roman Holiday, Breakfast at Tiffany's, My Fair Lady. She was born in Brussels, 1929. She died in 1993. What a great, beautiful woman and a fabulous actress. Moe Howard, the American actor and comedian. Three Stooges, he died at 77. 1975 was the year. Rhode Island declares independence from Great Britain, 1776. Don't mention the war. Thomas Edison's phonograph, shown for the first time at the Grand Opera House in 1878 on this day. Alice Liddell, English schoolgirl, model for Alice in Wonderland, was born in London in 1852, died in 1934. But the schoolgirl who gave life and legend to Alice in Wonderland. Golly. Al Capone, at completely the other end of the celebrity scale, Al Capone enters Atlanta Penitentiary. I thought they sent him to Alcatraz. Maybe not. Atlanta Penitentiary, convicted of income tax evasion. Couldn't get him on anything else. 1932 was the year. Harper Lee files a lawsuit against a literary agent over the copyright, 2013 it was, the copyright To Kill a Mockingbird. And one more, Andrew Denton, 1960, Australian television presenter and comedian, born in Sydney. He did some good work, Andrew Denton. I don't know where he is now. You could easily do a program called Where Are They Now? In the last few days, and this will get to Pete, it certainly got to me as well, we've lost some great talent. Gordon Lightfoot, 84. You loved his music, didn't you, Pete?
Number one for me.
Yes.
Number one.
I loved his music. There were so many albums. And I've got them all up at the house, battered and bruised, played more times than I can remember. Things like Second Cup of Coffee, On Susan's Floor. Did you like that one?
Yes, love it.
Susan's Floor. Gordon Lightfoot, 84 years of age. And Tony Staley, the one-time president of the Liberal Party, cabinet minister, and some say the architect of the dismissal of arguably the worst government Australia has ever had, that of Gough Whitlam back in 1975. Tony Staley was 83 when he died. Now, I mentioned to you in closing yesterday how, in the light of the terrible, violent, unstable governments that we have around the world, I got a little misty-eyed yesterday. I was thinking probably more particularly about Africa and South America. How we had to really value what we have here. Value it and protect it. Our freedoms and our privileges. And for all its faults, yes, our system of government. We can't be complacent. We can't take things for granted. Sadly, I think we are headed for trouble. I do. Maybe a reflective moment for us to consider or to think about just what we're made of. I said on Tuesday morning that the gurus and the pundits and the economists, who, if you laid them end to end, would never come to a conclusion, correct conclusion. They said no increase in the interest rates. Counterintuitively, I said to you that I thought they would hike them, and they did. But please, perspective. We should have perspective. The RBA is not the enemy. Inflation is the enemy. That's really the enemy. Their job, that's the RBA, is to control inflation. And they're doing their job. And they've only got one weapon with which to do it: interest rates. If the RBA can bring inflation under control with interest rates of 3.85%, which is what they ended up with on Tuesday, we are lucky. Now, I know. It's hard if you're confronting thousands and thousands of extra dollars that you've got to find, but we are lucky. You'd know that particularly if you've lived through the interest rates of 22%. I have, and so many other people watching this. Hell, 22%. That was Keating. And although I know painful it is at the moment, relatively what we have is a walk in the park. Because many people quite sensibly locked into a low interest rate, the lowest in history, 0.1%. And they're now coming off that. We will hopefully see now the slowdown in the economy that we must have if we're going to get back on an even keel without a recession. That is very important. This is pretty appalling. I don't know what you think of it. The Victorian government has decided to tax op shops. Tax op shops. The tax will be imposed as the op shops drop off at landfill the rubbish that is regularly piled up in front of their doors of their shops, and not just Victoria, but all over Australia, all over the country. Now sure, it costs money to get rid of that rubbish, but the op shops don't want it. The op shops didn't ask for it. They didn't cause it. They shouldn't have to pay for it. Daniel Andrews, drop that op shop tax. That really is a stinker. A new head for Qantas. For the first time, it's a woman, Vanessa Hudson. Now, she's been there for 28 years, I think. Of late, she has been the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer. Not the first time a Hudson has run the show, by the way. Hudson Fysh, Sir Hudson Fysh, did just that many years ago. He was a great leader of Qantas. Took it interesting places. There is no doubt that Qantas has gone downhill of late. True, they've been through the mill with the pandemic, but all airlines are in the same boat, if you'll pardon the expression, or same aeroplane, you know what I mean. Qantas has cut back on service and staff. The staff clearly aren't happy. The union isn't happy. Morale is low. The feeling always was that Alan Joyce came from running a budget airline to Qantas, which of course is a premium airline. Well, not anymore. Well, Vanessa, over to you. There's a job ahead of you here. Poor girl. Sometimes I feel I'm living in a kind of parallel universe. The Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, avowed Republican, jets off to London for the coronation of King Charles III. Will he take the oath of allegiance to the King? I'm told he has said that he will. He will swear the oath of allegiance to the monarch. Now, will he still go on being a Republican? I don't know. I don't know how that works. The word hypocrite comes to mind. You would either be a Republican or a monarchist. You can't be both. You can't sort of swear allegiance to both. The budget's going to be handed down, let me see, next week. Yeah. And as you know, we always get various things leaked for various reasons. But this is an interesting one. In the budget, they will earmark $234 million to help ban vaping. Well, at least ban the equipment involved and the various potions that are used, particularly the ones containing nicotine. Even tiny amounts can be dangerous. E-cigarettes are blatantly packaged and marketed to children, kids. The packaging, the flavours, the colours, clearly the tobacco industry is grooming our children. Good decision by the government. I applaud the move to ban vaping. But it does seem like a terrible waste of money. I can't see why the government just can't issue a decree at no cost. Cost them nothing. I don't know what the words would be. Vaping and all vaping equipment and associated products are now prohibited imports. They are forthwith banned from sale. Now, that wouldn't cost $200 million to do that. I wonder why this business started in the first place. Lungs are only good for air. Air is what you put in them. Nothing else. Vapor, smoke, nicotine, incense, whatever. We'll see what happens with that. But over $200 million, taxpayers' dollars, to fix that problem seems to be strange. 81% of Australians believe the cost of living is contributing more to poverty, more to children living in poverty, than the pandemic. 81%, that's a hefty slice of the population. Cost of living. Leaving the pandemic to one side, the cost of living is a big issue, over which, of course, the government has a lot more control than it pretends. Firstly, of course, there is the cost of electricity, which could be a fraction of what it is. And when you think that the cost of electricity is reflected in everything we buy, everything we do, everywhere we go, it's a huge multiplier. If we just stick to the conventional generation of electricity, that's all we really had to do, then there are, from the government's point of view, the fees and the charges and the taxes. That all contributes to the cost of living. Now, let's not gild the lily. Next week, the government is going to hand down a budget, which, thanks to our resources, coal, iron ore, uranium, and gas, will be in surplus. You heard me correctly. Okay, not a big one, or as the economists say, wafer thin, but never mind. Nevertheless, for the first time in many, many years, this country will be in the black. You can see other countries value and use to their advantage our precious coal. Best coal in the world. But of course, we can't. Isn't that strange? No, it's not actually strange, it's insane when you think about it. Thanks so much for being with us. Coming up tomorrow, of course, we'll have another court of public opinion. Pete, you've got a song that you can, a Gordon Lightfoot song to round off the day?
Yes, a song that I recorded.
Yes.
My favourite song of his.
Pete's favourite Gordon Lightfoot song. He was a wonderful influence on not only a lot of musicians, but of course a lot of songwriters and a lot of the generation through which I have survived.
He's Bob Dylan's favourite songwriter.
Bob Dylan's favourite songwriter. Yep. Yeah. Gordon Lightfoot and the other guy who lost his life in the plane crash. What was his name?
Buddy Holly.
No, not only Buddy Holly. I liked him too. But one with the sandy hair and wrote a lot of songs, Leaving on a Jet Plane. Who was that?
Oh, by John Denver.
John Denver.
Yes.
John Denver, Gordon Lightfoot, Buddy Holly. These were great. I think, frankly, Pete, I think we've seen the best of it. I really do. When you look at the hip-hop and the street and, I don't know what you'd call it, gang music. Well, never mind. We'll go and put a record on, ladies and gentlemen. Believe in yourself. Pete and I will be back tomorrow. Bye for now.
looking at the rain, feeling the pain of love lost running through my brain, looking at the wind, watching it spin the leaves along the street. You win, waiting for a line to fall, telling you it's all a big mistake, looking at a face so out of place inside that picture frame of lace, looking at the wall, wishing you'd call and tell me you're okay, that's all. Wishing this was all a dream, and I'd find you sleeping when I wake, looking at the trees, so ill at ease from sleep that will not come. That's me, looking at the dawn, knowing it's wrong, still thinking of your love that's gone. Wishing this was all a dream, and I'd find you sleeping when I wake, looking at the rain, feeling the pain of love lost running through my brain, looking at the wind, watching it spin the leaves along the street. You win, waiting for a light to fall, telling you it's all a big mistake, but the words won't come. I know I'd feel the same, looking at the rain.